Alright. I see something, but there's going to be a lot of latency. Let's see how much it is. Yeah, about a whole second. Caca. There's 2 viewers. Capture top comments. Alright. Well, even though there's some latency, I can still show them what I wanted to show them. That video I put out last night, I wanted to show people these Treasury auction results. Now, huh?
You're talking to me?
No, I'm streaming to whoever's out there. I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody out there or not, but I don't think so. Stream health is excellent. Okay, except it's got a lot of latency. Let me see if I can. Settings. Oh, I just think I need more internet. That's all. Well, let me just go with this and see if it works. So we have here Treasury auction results. This is June 2nd, 2021. And this is for the 119-day Treasury bill. So very short term. And they tendered 115 billion in the 119-day T-bill. So they tendered 115 billion, but only 35 billion was accepted. Primary dealer, that's usually the Fed. So the Treasury auctions, this is where the price of the bonds and the T-bills are set. So if they're offering 115 billion in T-bills and only 35 billion were accepted, they came up woefully short. Let's see here, 115 billion, that's billion with a B, minus 35 billion, So, uh, 80 billion is, you know, the shortfall. So, basically, let's see what the rates are. Crap. See, this is the problem. This is why they're not selling, because of the rates are too low. Investors want more yield. So, I believe that eventually there's going to be a bond market crash. And what that means is that the bonds are going to be undervalued. So, like for example, if the Treasury, if they're auctioning like $10,000 bonds, let's say, and investors only pay, you know, $5,000 for those bonds, that means the yield's going to go up, because invariably when the bond price goes down, the yield goes up. So let's see where we are right now with the yield. Okay. Yeah, just as I suspected, the yield is up on the U.S. 10-year. So, the yield on the 10-year is 1.591. So the bond crisis will show itself once they stop having people, these investors. Now, you have these indirect bidders. These are, I believe, these are the actual investors, the foreign investors. Primary dealer, I believe, is the Fed. So, to me, this 11 billion, 11.5 billion is probably what investors. That shows investor appetite. So they have a very low appetite for right now for the T-bill, short term. So if that's the case, then that yield has got to go up. When that yield goes up, that means the government's got to pay more interest on the bonds and the bills. And you have a smash up, bang up problem. This website is, if anybody's watching, it's treasurydirect.gov. And from here you can get the results of the Treasury auctions. Generally speaking, this is where you can begin to get an understanding of what is leading up to what I believe is going to be the collapse, the big kahuna. So, let's go back here. I got lousy internet here. We're on satellite internet, so there's going to be latency. So if I'm a little behind or lagging or whatever, so what we want to do is we want to see and keep an eye on this, because I think this is what's going to lead up ultimately to the total collapse, because investors out there are just not going to want to buy any more American debt. The other thing is what the Chinese do with the treasuries that they're holding. If they believe, now we can load up debtclock.org. So let's go there. And let's see if this will load up here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, real bad internet here. We ordered Starlink. Hopefully it'll come in soon. That'll save us. That'll so I can do more of this kind of stuff and make more videos. But let's see if we'll get this loaded. Let me jump back to the live stream. Okay, no viewers. Well, no, there's a couple of viewers, no comments. Alright, so let's load this up. Now, like I did in the video last night, this is the revenue that's coming in, federal income tax, 3.4 trillion. The actual spending of the US government is 7 trillion. And the interest on the debt is getting close to 4 trillion. So between this, the spending, and what the government has to borrow and pay on the debt, the interest on the debt, you have 11 trillion. And here you have 3.5 trillion of income tax revenue. So any knucklehead can go here and click the time machine and zip on up to 2025. I mean, you'd have to be blind not to see how dangerous this is, how out of control it is. So if you have investors out there, you have institutional investors, you have other types of investors overseas. So let's just talk about the Chinese, because what they do is they we send them our money to buy their cheap shit. They send the money back here in the form of buying treasuries. Yeah, see, if you notice, the federal tax revenue in 2025 is the same that it is now. So it's pretty much lights out. You've got federal spending at 8.5 trillion. You've got interest on the debt, 4.8 trillion. Here you go. Debt to GDP ratio, 187.5%. Stick a fork in it. It's done. The thing that people need to realize is that if you look at these numbers, investors, let's say the Chinese, they know they're not going to get their money back, and they're not even going to get their interest payments. So there's going to have to be a default. There's going to have to be a default. There's just no way around it. And even though the Fed has the power of the printing press, that all that's going to do is just hyperinflate the money supply, because you can see right here the money supply is what, 40.3 trillion out there, but the monetary base is really high. That's almost 15 trillion. That's insane. Uh, yeah, this is real bad, real bad. So by 2025, let's say the powers that be come out and say, well, we're going to peg the dollar to gold. We're going to bring back the gold standard. In order to account for all the dollars that are out there, you got your uh, monetary base, which is M1. You have your M2, which is like deposits and other things. Then you have currency and derivatives. So, in order to back all of this money with gold, gold would have to be revalued to 53,800 an ounce. That's, oh God. And silver would have to be 75.88 per ounce. So we know that's not going to happen. Um, no way. I think they're gonna go to a digital currency. The other thing I'm looking at is let me go here. Federal Reserve uh, gold holdings. Now, the our gold reserves were turned over to the Federal Reserve. We don't own the gold anymore. The government doesn't own the gold anymore. It's owned by the Federal Reserve. And we don't even know what's in Fort Knox. But allegedly, there's supposed to be, I don't know, 6,000 tons or something like that. So let's just play the game, okay? Uh, Now, gold bullion, 261.5 million ounces, okay? And the book value is $11 billion. But the gold that the Fed is holding, the 261.5 million ounces, is priced in 1971, where the gold was at 1971, which is really weird. Um, there it is right here. Book value. The Department of the Treasury records U.S. government owned gold reserve at the value stated in 31 USC blah blah blah, which is $42.22. So if the if the Federal Reserve, they are basically at this point, they're out of tools. They can't raise interest rates. They can't lower interest rates. Um, they're basically boxed in. They're doing reverse repo operations every night. Uh, they could revaluate the gold that they're holding. So let's say 261. So let's just see how much that is. 261, 498, 926 times, let's say, $2,000 an ounce. Basically today's price. So the actual gold value would go from 11 billion up to 522 billion. So, all of a sudden, you pick up roughly $510 billion just by revaluing the gold. I don't know if that takes an act of Congress or not. I don't know. They hold the gold. The Federal Reserve has the gold. They have it. They can do whatever they want with it, I guess. So, we tried this out, see how it goes, and as soon as I get the Starlink, better internet, I'll be able to do these a little more often. So, all right, I'll see you.